I'm grown. I can admit when I'm wrong. It's fair to say you guys kind of noticed that I had just like an affinity for not fucking with lands at all. And I had a good reason, all right? It's not like I had a bad reason to not mess with lands, okay? I didn't talk about lands very much in my deck techs or bring them up because I'm incredibly lazy. But as you can see lately, I've been a little bit more prolific. I've been making it a point to be a little less lazy. And with that, I said, you know what? Maybe lands aren't as expensive and as scary as I think they are. And they're not at all. They've dropped so much, especially after all the sets and new precons and new commander decks and new collector's boosters and new altered frames. Lands are super cheap now. This video is all going to be all about how to make very good land bases where every land's under $1. Every single land we talk about is going to be under $1. I feel like that's a pretty good budget benchmarker. I expected to find maybe 20, 30 lands under $1 that were pretty good. There's a fucking 100 of them. You can buy this entire list, by the way, every land we're going to talk about, all 100 of them, for $63. And pretty much every deck is going to have just an upgraded great land base that'll run very good. If you don't care much about lands like me, or you're scared of lands, or you think lands are the things that they don't do anything fun or big, and I don't want to spend money on stuff that doesn't do anything big or fun, I feel you, brother. And we're gonna go ahead and talk about a bunch of lands that are under $1, so you don't have to spend a bunch of money, and your decks can still run well, and you can still run, you know, not mono or 2-color decks. I feel you. Getting a little relaxed here. You're gonna see me looking over here because I have of course I got a Moxfield deck made. I'm addicted to Moxfield. Okay, getting right into it. First, we've got check lands. Again, all the ones that I'm going to be telling you about come in under $1. There are going to be some of these sets of lands that are missing some lands because they came in over $1. That's just how it be. Again, there's 100 goddamn lands on here for under $1. Your mana base will probably be fine. If you don't know what a check land is, check lands are the lands that come into play and then check if you have one of two types of lands in play. For example, Clifftop Retreat, the red-white check land, will come into play, check if you have a mountain or a plains, and enter untapped if you do. It enters tapped if you do not. The check lands that come in under $1 are Clifftop Retreat, Glacial Fortress, Sulphur Falls, Hinterland Harbor, Woodland Cemetery, Isolated Chapel. We're missing 4 out of the 10. This could be for a number of reasons. Modern decks could play them. Legacy decks could just randomly have them. There might have just been less of that land printed. It might have been harder to pull. There's a lot of random things that come into play. Again, there's 100 lands on this thing. Don't get too upset if your land's not in this section. It'll be in plenty others. Up next are the cycle lands, and I've seen a couple people online debate about these a bit, saying they're a little too slow to run for them to be good. Other people are like, yeah, but they have both land types on them, and you can just ditch them for 2 to draw a card. I'm the other people. I think these lands are really good. I think a lot of lands care about having a plains or forest in play, like we saw with the check lands. These will count towards one of those lands in play if we play a check land. Great synergy with those 2 kinds of lands in the deck. Also, lands are the number one thing that you just like hate to top deck late game, and if you're top decking one of these, it's just a replacement for itself. It's actually very good. Again, just the fact that they say the land types on them makes them worth it for me. And with these, actually, all 5 of them come in under $1, which is awesome. We've got Canyon Slow, Fetid Pools, Irrigated Farmland, Scattered Groves, and Sheltered Thicket. Again, they have both land types. They cycle. I think these things are great. I don't care what you say. But I don't know much about lands, so maybe take that with a grain of salt. Up next is fast lands. Now, fast lands will enter untapped if you control 2 or fewer lands when they enter the battlefield. So, hence the name fast lands. These ones are played quite a bit in CEDH because CEDH go fast, obviously. And they're played in a lot of other formats as well because a lot of other formats go fast. So there's only 2 of these that are under $1, but still, I was honestly kind of shocked that there was 2 of them that were under $1. So if you want to pick these up, which both of them go into Neb, you're welcome, my guy. He's lucking out this season. Blooming Marsh and Concealed Courtyard both come in under $1. Fast lands, really good lands. Again, if you're not playing CDH though, I prefer the slow lands, and I feel like that's a pretty good land type to move into from here. So knowing what a fast land is, you can probably guess what a slow land is. They enter untapped if you control 2 or more lands instead of 2 or fewer. If you have 2, that's right in the sweet spot. You're right in the sweet spot. It's so funny to me how many of these lands I remember being like $10, $15, $20 to pick up in the past, and now they're this much. I've done a lot of stupid stuff. You know what I mean? I've bought cards that have shot up in price. I bought this wig for $1, but I've never bought lands for too much. That's just me. We'll see how long this sticks around. With how itchy I'm getting and how much like burnt plastic it smells, it's probably not going to last too much. But with the volume it has, maybe it will. As far as slow lands are concerned, we've got Cinderglade, Prairie Stream, Smoldering Marsh, Sunken Hollow, and Canopy Vista. So yeah, all the slow lands are coming in under $1. And I like these more, like I said. Commander is such a slow format, and for me it's about playing big, slow, cool stuff that you don't get to play in other formats. So, slow lands, for me, and they are for me, slow lands. What is that from? What's that speech from? Let me know if you know what it is. I think they're great, especially with how slow the format is. That's all I got to say. Okay, looping back to the whole cycle lands and people debating that they're not good online. Man lands. A lot of people don't like these. I've seen a lot of people that are just like, they're slow. Yeah, once you have them in play, cool. But like, I think they're just too slow to play. They're kind of been outranked by other... Excuse the hell out of me. I love man lands, alright? And I can honestly admit they are a little slow, okay? But I fucking love them. I think they're so cool. They have a sweet spot in my heart. I love having them because they sneak up on people. People forget you have them, and then you animate them and you block, and they're like, damn it. And there's so many of them for under $1. Just look at all of them. Look at all of them. And if you see your color, give the little space bar a tap. Give it a little pause and read it. And tell me that's not a cool creature to have for free. It's not for free. You got to activate it. But it's on a land. But it's on a land. Come on. Celestial Colonnade. You want your land to become a you want your land to become a 4/4 white-blue elemental with flying and vigilance? Sure. Lava Claw Reaches. How about a 2/2 that gets +X/+O? And how about a 2/2 with fire breathing? Sure. Lumbering Falls. How about a 3/3 hexproof? Needle Spires, Raging Ravine, Restless Prairie, Restless Ridgeline, Restless Vents, Shambling Vents, Wandering Fumarole, Stirring Wildwood, Restless Fortress, Restless Spire, Restless Vinestalk, Hissing Quagmire, Restless Bivouac, Restless Cottage, Restless A Reef. Just throw a couple of them in. I like them. I put them on the list. I wouldn't have felt right if I didn't. I like them. Okay, there. That's it. Modal lands. If you're keeping up with spoilers, I can tell you're getting distracted, and I'm getting extraordinarily itchy. If you're keeping up with spoilers, modal lands are back, which is cool. If you don't know what a modal land is, that's okay, dude. It's all right. It's all right, my guy. It's a land on the back, a spell on the other side. You can pick which one you want to do. They're cool. A lot of them are kind of pricey, just because they are good. There are a lot of them that come in under $1 though that I think are underutilized. So all of these are going to be the spell side of them, and then on the back they're just whatever color the spell is of a land that enters tapped. So if it's a red spell, the other side of it is a mountain that enters tapped, essentially. Reads kind of meh. Plays amazing. They're super good for deck building. They open up a lot of slots in your deck. And these are all the ones that come in under $1. Kabira Takedown is some good removal. That's a modal land. Makindi Stampede is a good board-wide buff. That's a modal land. Palaka Predation is a discard. Songmad Treachery is a active treason. Vastwood Fortification is a +1/+1 counter. Zoft Consumption is a drain. Kazandu Mammoth is a good body. Tangled Florahedron is a mana ramp or land, interestingly enough. Sullen Divisions is a pseudo-tutor for an instant or sorcery. Kazul's Fury is a fling. Colony's Ambush is a fight spell. And Spikewood Hazard is a ping spell. On the back of all of these are their corresponding colors of land that just enter tapped. Again, really good for deck building. If you need a slot in your deck, you can just slot in one of these removal pieces, take out one of your removal pieces. Now you have a removal and a land. You have one card slot open. It just helps a lot. They're really nice. Again, I don't know if I've said this yet. Down in the description, there's a link to this entire list of 100 lands, so you can look at them, pick up the ones you need. Always trying to help you guys out. Let's move on. Ping lands. These are interesting. These lands will tap for one of two colors, but they'll ping you for 1 damage. There's 2 types of ping lands. There's the OG ping lands, which will tap for like a waste and then tap for 1 or 2 colors and ping you. And then there's these new ones. There's these new ones that do the same thing. They tap to ping you for 1 and add 1 or 2 colors. But then you can also pay 1, tap them, sacrifice them to draw a card, which is good. It's land fixing and card draw. So either one of these, I consider them both ping lands. And since there's only 2 of the ones that draw you a card that are under $1 and 3 of the other ones, I just threw them all together. As far as the ones that draw you cards, we've got Fiery Islet or Islet? I think it's Islet, but I'm not sure. And then Waterlogged Grove. And as far as the OG ones go, we've got Caves of Koilos, Yavimaya Coast, and Shivan Reef, which Cool. They're great lands. They enter untapped. They're really good at fixing. Losing 1 life in Commander when you start at 40 isn't a big deal. And then for under a buck, definitely pick them up. Up next are reveal lands, and these are the lands that I specifically remember being like $5 to $10. And now that I look them up, I'm like, oh, all of them are under $1 now, which is really cool because the reveal lands require you to reveal either one of 2 land types from your hand. And like we've gone over, a lot of these lands will say one of the 2 land types, like in the case of the cycling lands, which makes these really easy to enable, enter untapped. It's really good. So all of these are under $1. We've got Choked Estuary, Fortified Village, Frostbolt Snarl, Furycalm Snarl, Game Trail, Port Town, Vinegliver Snarl, Foreboding Ruins, Shine Shadow Snarl, and Necroblossom Snarl. All 10 of them under $1. They're really good, especially as we move on, because even more of these lands have land types on them. So there you go. Very good. Pick this package up if you're going to pick any of them up. Hopping back on the boat of the cycle lands and the man lands. A lot of people are not sure about the temples anymore. I really like the temples. I understand that the surveil ones essentially do the same thing, except they also enable graveyard strategies, and they have both land types on them. Surveil lands are way better. That's why they're like $5 to $10. Scry lands have dropped to like 25 cents a piece, and I still think they're very, very good, and I still think you should pick them up. All 10 of them are under $1. I still run them. I think they're really good. They help with land fixing, or they help with card draw, card fixing. This is one that I understand maybe if you don't pick it up, but I still recommend you do. I still think temples are great. Temple of Abandon, Temple of Deceit, Temple of Enlightenment, Temple of Epiphany, Temple of Milady, Temple of Malice, Temple of Mystery, Temple of Plenty, Temple of Silence, and Temple of Triumph. Pick them up. I still like them. I know a lot of people don't, but... Up next, we have lands that I named Signet lands. I didn't really know what to look up to find what these were called, so I called them Signet lands, because they work exactly like a Signet. You pay 1 colorless to filter for 2, like, of the guild lands. And all 10 of these, again, are legal. So, Darkwater Catacombs, Mossfire Valley, Shadowblood Ridge, Skycloud Expanse, Sungrass Prairie, Desolate Mire, Overflowing Basin, Sunscorched Divide, Viridescent Bog, and Ferris Lake. I haven't heard a lot of these, actually. A lot of these are from Thunder Junction, Fallout reprints, again, which have helped price a ton. All 10 of these are under $1. Pick up this package as well. They're very good. Up next, we've got the Kaldheim Snowlands. These are an interesting one. Again, these are about 50-50 with the community. Some people think they're too slow, and especially with the release of some new common dual lands that are both types, it's like, why would it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? There's enough lands that you can get other ones. I think the fact that these snow lands that enter tapped, they add 1 of 2 colors, and they count as those 2 colors of lands. They count as, if it's blue-white, an island and a plains. And as we've discovered with some of these other lands, that helps a lot to enable a lot of these other lands to enter untapped. These lands tapped so other lands could untap. You know what I mean? These lands walked so other lands could run type vibes. I still think they're really good, especially maybe if you got some snow interaction in your deck. I don't really know if you do, but the fact that they're both land types, I thought it was worth mentioning in the video for sure. And then finally, to end things off, we've got the Tri-lands. These are the lands that enter tapped. They add for 1 of 3 types of mana. I still think these are good. Again, you might disagree with me that anything that says enter tapped isn't good anymore. I disagree. A lot of the times, the first 1, 2, 3 turns, some games, we're not doing a lot, but trying to get our mana right. And I think these are really good at doing it if you're in a 3-color deck. If you're in a 5-color deck, jam all of these into it and have a great time having all the land you need. It's funny because 9 of the 10 of these actually came in under $1. There's a single one of these that didn't come in under $1. Can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll put it up on the screen right here. For some reason, it's like $2.50 or something like that. Again, it's probably a situation where it just got underprinted or some weird shit like that. But 9 of these are for under $1. Again, if you're in 3-color, 4-color, 5-color, I think these lands are great. We've got Jungle Shrine, Mystic Monastery, Nomad Outpost, Crumbling Necropolis, Opulent Palace, Arcane Sanctum, Sandstep Citadel, Frontier Bivouac, and Seaside Citadel. You might disagree that some of these tapped ones aren't great, and that's fine. I think there's plenty of options for ones that enter untapped for under $1 now that this could still be of some kind of use. And I'm happy to say I was wrong. You know what I mean? I didn't address lands in a lot of the decks. I will definitely be addressing lands in the future deck techs and future videos that require me to address deck list. We'll probably be talking about lands a little bit more. It's helping me realize they're not as expensive and as scary as they have to be. With that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. We're probably gonna be a little bit silent on the uploads for the next couple days until June, and then we're gonna be hitting the ground running with June again. So yeah, we've hit 5,000 subscribers, by the way, which I super appreciate. That is like extremely ahead of schedule. I was expecting like July, August, maybe, to be hitting like 5K. You're sitting here in May, you're like, yeah, we're already pushing 5K. We're gonna go past that. We're getting like 600 plus subscribers every 28 days, which is nuts. So I appreciate the hell out of that. So yeah, I hope the content is in any way informative, entertaining, useful. And that's it. I'm gonna stop yapping. You can start clicking on some more entertaining videos in this one. And I'll get out of your hair. Much love, guys, and go play some Magic.
Perfect. In response, run 100 up. You think I'm mulligan a pub, you ain't one of us. Where's it at? Where's it at? Ain't noticing it, I'm right here. Boom big, I'm noticing it. My pedal to the metal like build it. My pedal float shit like I killed it. Real shit, let this little nerd get a word in real quick.